class. At one point it was 18, and then it switched back. So anyway, London was a really incredible experience. I can't imagine driving there, but one night we went to this place called the Radio Rooftop too, and had a great view of London. Also kind of like a typical rooftop experience that you might witness here in New York, but that was also very nice. And we then went to Paris on the 23rd, and we went via the Channel, which was a really surprisingly fast train. I think it went 120 miles an hour or something. I don't think I'd ever been on a train that fast. I think another train that may rival the speed of that is the bullet train in Japan. It also goes very fast. But Paris was more these grandiose, older architecture, even older than England was, I think. And it was very sad to see Notre Dame. It was blocked off. You couldn't really go near it at all. You could only see it from afar. There was very heavy security in the city. I think that, there was heavy security in England, but I think because of that, and it wasn't a terrorist attack or anything, I think they had concluded that because there was wood scaffolding and there may have been a spark that had caught fire or something like that. But there was very heavy security in Paris, and you could tell the sentiment was a little bit sad. Like the morale was definitely down, but it was still incredible. We took the Bateau Mouchet one night, and it was this little ship, this little boat, for an hour on the River Seine, which is actually a much cleaner river than the Thames. That I found was very interesting. So we took that one night, and we were able to see a lot of the famous buildings and the Eiffel Tower light up. And I also got a picture on under the Eiffel Tower. We didn't go up in the Eiffel Tower because it was too time consuming. But the other thing notable about Paris that was really interesting was we bought this little, or rather downloaded this app called Lime, which showcases these. They have bikes for rental. They have motor scooters, mopeds for rental. But one thing that we noticed when we went to Paris were all these motor scooters, these little motorized scooters. Not the ones that you ride, you sit on, but the ones that, like a Razor scooter, motorized, a little bigger, a little heavier. But they were all laying around. Some were standing up on a kickstand, but some were, in these heaps, just laying on the corner, just kind of discarded randomly by people that had used them. And we wondered, that kind of makes for a weird aesthetic. Is that, mainly a tourist attraction type thing, or is that someone that everyone does? And we noticed that a lot of the citizens a lot of Parisians actually use them themselves. There's a lot of bikers in the city and whatnot. Big culture around driving as well too, and they drive a lot faster. I think in the city the traffic flow is a lot different than New York. But we bought these, we downloaded this app called Lime, and I think it's available in New York. I don't think the scooters are, but maybe the bicycles. And we rode around on these scooters when we were a little bit tired, and it was just a very interesting experience. We hated on them at first, and then we found ourselves on them. So they go up to like 15 kilometers, which is around 20 miles per hour ish. So they don't go too fast. I'm sorry, 25 kilometers per hour, 15 miles per hour. 15 kilometers per hour, 25 kilometers per hour, 15 miles per hour. That's what it was. So it didn't go too fast, but it definitely got you to where you needed to be. And the range on one of them was like 12.9 miles. So that was really interesting to ride. One thing I was a little bit disappointed. I'm going to touch on a couple more things before I segue into the beat portion of this podcast. Is I was a little bit disgruntled and disappointed by the clothing, and not the big chains, not designer clothing. That was all. You could find all of that if you wanted to. That's not what I was interested in. I was more interested in thrifting and vintage clothing. I really wanted to see how the culture was there. And there was a couple cool stores, but I didn't really find anything in my size or anything that piqued my interest or caught my eye. And a lot of it was very expensive. You don't really have your Goodwills that you would have, or your Salvation Armies. It's a little bit different, and I didn't really see any secondhand clothing stores to the caliber that we have here. So a little bit interested into why that is. Maybe I could look into that more. And the other thing, very amazing experience. I have a lot of pictures, a lot of memories to share. I wrote a lot, I read a lot. Very just thought-provoking experience. We saw Versailles. That was we went outside and saw sort of the suburbs outside of Paris. That was very beautiful to see. But one thing I read an article in the New Yorker a couple days ago, and it kind of made me want to talk about this, is just how Airbnb affects the economy in these cities too. Because we did stay in Airbnbs in both the cities, and I think it can both be a detriment and it can be a great aid to the economy in these cities. And what I was reading in this New Yorker article is that it can actually drive a lot of people, out of their residencies, and it can cause for this influx of like really nasty tourists that don't clean up after themselves, are very obnoxious, and it creates for this huge influx of people. But sometimes, with a place like, I think the New Yorker article was describing Barcelona, Spain, a city of 1.5 million people has an influx of, I can't remember the exact number, but millions of people every year. And the economy was, after 2008 crash, it was dependent on something and needed it. So, they were beckoning tourists to come, but now it's become predicated on tourism, and, it can kind of hurt, the natives there, and it gives this kind of false sense of culture. So that was interesting. I've definitely felt like I was an alien. I felt like I would definitely dumb down and quiet my voice sometimes so they wouldn't hear my Americanized accent. But, I was able to definitely get comfortable a few days in and realize, we're all just human beings. We're all part of the experience, and I'm here to enjoy the country that I'm in. And it was just a wonderful time to, I had some amazing conversations. And the weather was incredible. It was supposed to rain every day in Paris, and it didn't. So really incredible with that. And with that, I will give you guys one word of the day that you can chew on. And I didn't get to angel cards this week. Maybe next week I'll get to it. Not maybe. Definitely next week we'll get to it. I didn't have time to get to it this week. But the word I'm going to give to you is dulcet, sweet and soothing of a sound. So if you ever hear a dulcet sound in New York, please email me at jacobpankin@gmail.com. That's JACOBPANKIN@gmail.com, because I don't think there's too many dulcet sounds when you're out in the throngs of people in New York, because tourism is definitely important here too. So with that, I will transition into a little bit of beat making, and this one is called Suck AMC, and this is So I'm going to start that for you guys. Make sure it's not too loud. All right. So we're about at 90 beats per minute on this. I'm going to build this for you guys. Hope you enjoy. That was the Suck AMC. I don't know what that is derived from, but that was the Suck AMC drum set on the Akai XR20. I hope you guys enjoyed the little beat. That was all live once again. And with that, this has been episode 4, Post Europe, of The Way Jacob Sees It, with your host Jacob Pankin, coming at you from Washington Heights, New York City. Hope you guys have a great week. Hope you guys learn a lot. Live, love, and laugh. Spread all 3. Life. And with that, I'm going to close out with, I'm going to play one of the random beats that I've recorded on here. I'm going to pick a random one and let's see what it is. So, hope you guys enjoy. Have a great week.